unstoppable with your business and in your life too. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the My Engineer community. Here, Tommy Walker, sharing insight and tools to help you, in this case, with your business. But what I'm going to share here can be applied in any area of your life to help you start making changes. Let me get a sip of something. So I'm going to reveal what has really changed my life and what a lot of people talk out there that is helping others start making changes. One of the people that revolutionized change psychology for the better, of course, was Danielle Goleman. Danielle Goleman was the person that started introducing emotional intelligence. Many years ago, people thought, and studies had proven, quote unquote, that intelligence, the IQ of a person, was going to be able to determine their future, their success. And for many, 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 many years, that's what most people thought. Eventually, Danielle Goleman came forward and started creating a thesis where he started to prove that emotion, the IQ, is not the factor in determining somebody's success and future. What he came up with, he realized, was that emotional intelligence was much more important. Yes, IQ is important, but emotional intelligence, EI, is even more important than that. And there's a phrase that he says that I love that says that most CEOs are hired by companies because of their IQ, and most are fired because of the lack of emotional intelligence. So what's happening more and more, and I still feel that we're a long way to go yet, is that emotional intelligence is being still overlooked. A lot of people are using cognitive, they're using the intellect to weaponize in a ways or benefit from EI, emotional intelligence, not AI, EI, yes, emotional intelligence, but they're not actually applying it in their life and in their business. So if you want to become unstoppable, what I recommend, and this is what a lot of people are talking more and more, and I still feel that there's much more to come with this, is to start dealing with your emotional world. It's not easy. It is very difficult. A lot of people that work with me one-on-one, and I see some faces here, they can tell you that it's not easy, but it is the most rewarding thing, because a lot of these people that I work with have tried many things to make changes in their life, and nothing seemed to change. And a lot of them thought that that was going to be their life for the rest of their life because there wasn't much they could do about it. But as they started working on emotional intelligence and self-awareness, becoming aware of your emotions, because your emotions are going to be the GPS that are going to allow you to access the subconscious mind to finally determine what are the things that are in there, mainly the limiting, negative, and false beliefs, your belief system. Your belief system is the processor inside of a computer. It's like, no, it's not the processor, sorry, that's why it's the main software, like the Windows or the Mac iOS software, that from there everything runs. So if I install in my computer a Windows 1995 software or a 1990 software Windows, most, not to say all, of the different apps that I have in my computer or that I will try to install afterwards, they're going to stop running. So is there a problem in the computer? Is there a problem in the hardware, in the wiring? No, the problem is that the base, the software that is installed where everything where everything else runs over, unfortunately, it's outdated, and most softwares don't work with that main software. So when we start understanding that it is our belief system that is running the show. And then we see the emotional world being triggered. And as when we were kids, we have been taught that we shouldn't feel pain, we shouldn't feel scared, shouldn't feel shame, we shouldn't feel sad, and all those things. We've learned to repress our emotions. And our emotions can be your guide into your system to identify what is holding you back. Because as I always say, procrastination is not the problem. Perfectionism is not the problem. Overwhelm is not the problem. Anxiety is not the problem. Stress is not the problem. Analysis paralysis is not the problem. All of those and much more, imposter syndrome and so many others that I can talk about, are just symptoms of something deeper. They are not the actual problem. The thing is, most people keep treating the problem as the actual problem when they're not realizing that that is the symptom. And I use this example very often where I say, if one of my kids has fever because they have an infection inside of their body, just giving them something to lower the temperature for them not to have fever is treating the symptoms, is not actually treating the root cause. Another example that I use a lot is if you have a punctured tire, you wouldn't just stop, pump air in it. If you have a compressor or something, pump air in it and then keep going. Because you know that eventually 2 blocks, 5 blocks, a couple of miles or kilometers, the tire is going to be flat again. You're not treating the root. So what would you do with a flat tire? Try to find a puncture, fix it, pump it up, and you're done, at least for some time. This is the same thing with the mind, guys. You have software that is outdated. It worked when you were a kid. A big thing that most people struggle with is their inner critic. And what they do is they beat themselves up to the inner critic. Seriously, it sounds weird, but they beat up the inner critic to have the inner critic stop doing the inner critic. I even saw one time Mel Robbins sharing an example, and Tony Robbins does a very similar exercise too, where you put a name to the inner critic. And when it comes up, you shut it off and you say, shut up, blah, 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 the name that you put to that inner critic, and you shut it down. So in a way, you are rejecting the inner critic, and the inner critic was created because it felt rejected. The inner critic was created in the first place because of rejection. And now you're rejecting the inner critic for trying to do his job. So what you're getting is more inner critic. You're feeding it. That's what most people do. They feed their behaviors, although consciously they're trying to change them. Subconsciously, they're feeding them. That's why they find it so difficult to get over procrastination, overwhelm, eating, smoking, drinking, or whatever it is they're struggling with. They cannot change it. Most people, I'm not saying everyone, don't get me wrong, but people that go into diets, they just have these ups and downs all the time and they're not able to stay consistent. Why? Because they're not really understanding what's underneath the maybe eating to soothe themselves, smoking to self-soothe, to numb the pain, procrastinating as a protective mechanism. So one of the big things that Gabor Mate teaches, and I love this, is why the pain? Instead of asking why the addiction, why the numbing, why the I don't know, the smoking, the drinking, the eating, is why the pain? Where is this pain coming from? What is going on within me? Because the entrepreneur journey and life, don't get me wrong, combined together, right, is going to bring people and circumstances that are going to bring to the surface your unresolved issues. And if you don't work on resolving your unresolved issues, you're going to keep repeating patterns over and over again. So if you really want to become unstoppable for your business or your life or both, I recommend that you start working on understanding how the mind works, getting into your emotional world that we have repressed, ignored, numbed, any name that you want, reject, all of those, all of the above that we have learned since childhood, we got to start becoming responsible of what we're feeling, how we're feeling, why we're feeling the way that we're feeling, so that we're able to really start understanding what's going on underneath. Because remember, behaviors are the byproduct. Give me 1 second. Behaviors are the byproduct of what? Of the mind trying to protect you normally from negative emotions. And you cannot just control your emotions. I hear so many groups, different people talking about controlling your emotions. You cannot control the emotions. What you can do is learn how to navigate them. Because as you navigate them, you release them, you understand them, and you're going to be able to find behind the emotion the pot of gold that is awaiting for you. As we deal with our negative emotions, we're able to enter into our subconscious world to find the beliefs that are running the show. Most people think that their emotions are running the show. Yes, it is partly true, but actually, behind the emotions that are running the show, you have your belief system. Your belief system, again, is the Windows, the iOS, the software, the main one that is going to allow or not to run other softwares on top of it. What do I mean with this? I have worked with lots of entrepreneurs, lots of business owners that couldn't make money, made money and something happened, they lost it or they spent it or whatever, and they were always struggling. As we start going into their belief system, we found the recent one that I had was a woman that each time her business started getting better, starting doing good, she would shut it down and convince herself that this was not, she wasn't feeling okay with this type of business, that she wanted to start some new business, or she kind of sold it at a very low price. When she opened up to this world, she started navigating her emotional world. She was able to find a belief from childhood that her parents had, not on purpose, but repeated many times, and she had taken it as the truth, that if she made good money, she was going to be a bad person. If she made good money, she was going to be a bad person. So in this case, what happened? She was selling the company or shutting it down because she couldn't allow herself to make money. I'm working now with another woman too, that she doesn't want to make money because she doesn't want to have her siblings ask for money. As she doesn't feel comfortable giving money to her siblings, what she's doing is sabotaging her business. That's how powerful the mind is. The mind is going to protect you from pain. So if we don't learn how to face that pain, how to manage it, how to learn from it, unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult to start making changes in these behaviors that you've been struggling for so long. So yes, it's going to be painful. It's going to be challenging, facing your emotions, going into your emotional world. Yes, it can hurt like crap. Some studies, Bessel van der Kolk talks about this. I have it in the library behind me. He talks about how the sensors in the brain that get lit in an MRI, they get lit, I think it is an MRI or some studies, they get lit when you're going through physical pain. Some of them get also lit when you're going through emotional pain. And the main task of the mind, of the ego, is to protect you from pain. But the same protection of protecting you from pain, the same mechanism is getting you stuck today. So if we don't start really learning how the mind works, how to navigate our emotional world, it's going to make it very difficult to face the challenges that our business is going to go through. Because the truth is, as I tell everyone, being an entrepreneur is not an easy task because it's going to bring up your unresolved issues. If you, maybe when you were a kid, they bullied you, people made fun of you, they told you you were not going to make it, that you were lazy, that you were this or that, people that judged you, you might have learned things, beliefs like, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to make it, I cannot be successful, I don't deserve. the other day I was working another woman. I was working with her, and she was telling me that she just won. She's in multi-level marketing in Juiced, that Swiss company that sells oils and different things. She had won a trip in a cruise from Brazil, and I don't remember exactly, or Uruguay, somewhere, no, from Brazil, somewhere else, right? And she had won that trip. But as she was getting to win that trip, there was the opportunity to win another trip. And as we were talking on that session, and she had lost the trip, that second trip, she realized that deep down, she felt that it was too much for her, that she didn't deserve both trips. She felt she didn't deserve to win both trips. And though she could have made it because she had made it in the past and she does really good with her business, she had self sabotage because she didn't feel she deserved. So the programs in her mind are going to dictate how we behave, the decisions we make, the options we see possible, and the options that we don't see possible. Not because maybe you can or cannot make it, it's because your programs are aligning you with your behaviors are going to be the result of the alignment with those beliefs. So if you truly want to be able to get your business going, to face the different challenges, ups and downs that an entrepreneur journey has, the idea is to start working on the mind, exploring your emotional world, to be able to finally get into your belief system, to understand what are the narratives you're telling yourself that are holding you back. One more example about how the mind is so powerful and how it is not only self-sabotaging or bringing us to get stuck and things like that. I was working with a couple that they, again, multi-level marketing. I think it was in Essen, those pods and things like that. I don't know if they're all around the world, but really high level, good quality pods, right? And they were working very hard the entire month because they wanted to be able to make X amount of money. And they were telling me that they were fighting a lot because after the month ended, we were working the first couple of days of the next month. They were telling me that last month, although they had set some goals, they worked really hard, they were not able to. And when he would complain about how they ended up that month, but he didn't call her out. He didn't say, this is your fault, you didn't do it now. He would just say, look, oh, I'm so frustrated. I feel so bad that we're not able to make it to our goal, blah, blah, whatever. She would get really upset. So to make it short, the story, they had a daughter, and the woman says, but you know what, Tommy, I put so much energy. I'm trying to get this business going because I want to spend more time with my daughter. And last month that we spent so much time in the weekend trying to make it to the goals, I wasn't able to spend enough time with my daughter. So I feel pretty frustrated. So look at this, how the mind works. When he complained, what she heard in her mind is, I'm a bad mom. The narrative she was telling herself in her mind is, I'm a bad mom. So when he was complaining, she was listening in her mind that I'm a bad mom. So she wanted him to shut off, to shut down, to shut up, not to complain anymore, because she didn't want to deal with her own pain. She was blaming him for her pain when actually she was self-inflicting it. She was telling herself that she was not a good mom. He wasn't saying that. I was there. I asked him, are you saying that she's a bad mom? He said, no. I asked her, did he say directly or indirectly, like to you, like, oh, you should have been more with your daughter or whatever, right? Did he say something to you? And she's like, no. Tommy, her eyes went big like this. She said, Tommy, I'm realizing that I'm telling myself, I'm inflicting my pain. And I want him to stop. So it's imagining stabbing yourself with a knife and getting angry at the neighbor because they're just standing there thinking that they're inflicting that pain. And there's a video I found online that it's amazing. There's a little girl with a hose, and she's cleaning dad's car. Suddenly she gets down to pick something, and with the hose, seriously, let me show this because this is unbelievable. It's in Spanish, but I want to find it because it's amazing. This girl is with a hose, right, cleaning dad's car. She goes like this to pick something, and suddenly she starts pouring water on top of her, and she goes, Hey, Natalie, stop it! Natalie, stop it! Ah! And she realized she was calling her sister's name because she thought that her sister was pouring water on top of her. And it was her. She was doing it to herself, but she was blaming her sister because she thought it was her sister. When she saw her hand that she was pointing the hose towards her, she started laughing. And it's such a cute video of this situation. If I don't find it, I'm going to get AI to do it because seriously, that is something to really, know, use it because we are thinking that other people are inflicting pain on us. And the guys, the business is going to bring that pain to the surface. And if you don't learn how to deal with it, it's going to make it very difficult. The business is going to be like your best friend or your partner when they say stuff or do stuff that trigger you. The business is going to be the same. So you got to do videos. You're going to, I don't know, buy a good phone, get a good background, get lighting, get a microphone, all of that. Suddenly you start doing your first videos, you put them out on whatever you're trying to sell, and nobody engages on them. That it's like somebody saying you're not good enough. So your business is telling you you're not good enough. So in a way, it starts becoming the enemy. The thing is, you have this love-hate with your business because it's bringing that I'm not good enough. But on the other hand, you want to try to get your business going to try to make some money. So it's this war inside of us because of how the mind works. So if we don't start dealing with our emotional world, we don't start really getting into the belief system behind that, it's going to make it very, very, very difficult to get our business off the ground. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoy this. I really, when I look at these videos or I see these type of things with people that I work with, that they're blaming their business or blaming the government or blaming somebody else for their own pain, it's just trying to get through the pain, but they're not actually getting through the pain. They're just shoving it to the back and not dealing with it. It's like, seriously, I don't know, having a horse shitting all over your backyard and you just throwing that, inside of your house and then complaining that there's shit inside of your house. Seriously, it's that crazy. You are inflicting your own pain. Nobody else. Nobody has that power. Seriously. Emotionally and mentally, nobody has the power to inflict pain. Physically, yeah, I can hit you, I can throw something at you that could hurt, don't get me wrong. But emotionally, mentally, you are the one. If somebody says, Tommy, you're F stupid, I hate you, whatever, it's the meaning I put to that is going to impact me or it's not going to hurt me. That's up to me. And I'm not saying it's easy, guys. Please don't take this wrong. Don't take this out of context that you can go out there and tell anyone whatever you want. No, I'm not saying that. It is difficult to deal with our own pain. But if we don't start dealing with our own pain, it's going to make it very difficult to really, as I say in this training, become unstoppable with your business or even in your life. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. If you're watching, #live. If you're watching replay, #replay if you want to share that. And I'll read you afterwards. And if you think that this could benefit any type of entrepreneur that you know, a friend, family member that you think could benefit from this, share the link with them that I think they're going to appreciate this. Thank you very much. Have a great week and I'll see you next time. Take care.